Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning here. I completed a new journal this week. Actually, I completed it in about 2 days because I was in a rush because I'm giving it to somebody who I'm meeting with today, and I wanted to get it done. It doesn't have everything in it that I'd like to have in it. I was waiting for some napkins to arrive, but they didn't. So I may add another signature to this and give it to her later on. So this is my cloth cover. It's made out of a canvas. It's sort of like a really heavy-duty muslin, but it's much thicker than regular muslin, and it's 2 layers. And this one I added handles to, and instead of an elastic, since I have the handles on it, I added a little bow tie, a ribbon tie. This is the tassel for it. I have one of these hooks, and I added some charms to it for dangles, and I made the tassel out of ribbons and lace and some muslin and some beads that I have from when I used to bead. And there's the beads. And here's some more beads. Oh, where are they? There they are. And this is one of the charms that I made out of the muslin, and I made a charm out of it. So I added that with the bulb pins. This is just out of this bit of jewelry that I picked up one time. It has these little flower charms and this little thing in it, and so I just used that as the ring to put the ribbons through. And it's got some embroidery floss on it too. So I hope you can see all this. The lighting, it's morning, so the lighting, the sun is coming in my patio door, so I had to close those shades. And I have my lights on, but I have them sort of covered with dimmers. I might take the dimmers off. That might be better, actually. Hopefully that's not too bright now. So I did this part on my sewing machine. It has a monogram function on it, so there's that. And then this I stamped on muslin and just sewed it on. So let's take a look inside. I also put an elastic here, and there it is, and an elastic here on the back for pens in case she wants to use it, and if she doesn't, she could always cut those off. So we'll open it up. Now my friend is a book editor, and I got this, I think, off of Graphics Fairy, and I printed it on cardstock with on tea-dyed cardstock, and it came out really beautiful and very rich. So I'm using that as the first signature cover. I made this pocket out of a paper pad. This is just a 6x6 piece of paper that I used. And then if you take this paper clip off, you can open this up and write inside. So I put this little altered paper clip on it to help keep it shut when you're not using it, and nobody'd be the wiser that it actually opens up. And I did some stamping here. It's a dragonfly, because that's what I was feeling when I was making this. More stamping over here. That sun is still, there's one little beam of sun shining in. This is composition paper that I tea-dyed, and I just fold the edges in so it gives more space to write. And I didn't really do anything with this paper. This is from a paper pad. I just decided to put it in there. This is a 8.5 by 11, I think, paper pad. Some more stamping on tea-dyed paper. And then this is a pocket I made. After watching tons of videos, I decided that I wanted to practice making pockets out of book pages. So it has a tag here. This is the Tim Holtz paper, tissue paper with some muslin behind it. Pretty simple, and I put some lines on the back. I have various ways of doing lines. I'll go over that in a future video. But there's that. These are from the paper pad that I used. I used 2 different paper pads. And that's his beauty. And then here's an altered tag I did with some more lines on the back. These are different lines. So there's that. And it says, imagine, I have this big sheet of, oh, what's the name of it? It's the stuff you can see through. And I used that. And it's from way back when I used to make cards. And so I just cut a word out of it. This stuff. See, it's like plastic. It's heavy duty though. It's thick. So I cut those out. Put that on there. And this has 2 pockets here. And then one in the middle. And then it has this pocket. And it has this pocket. So these tags all fit in here. Kind of cute like. There we go. And then this is some ledger paper that I have from a long time ago. And this is just a piece of cardstock out of an old paper pad that I had when I used to make cards. And just, this is from an ephemera pack I got, probably at Tuesday Morning. And an altered paper clip. I made this from a magazine picture, or 2 magazine pictures. And this is from that other paper pack that I used in the front. And I made this card. It's a, I think this was a 4x6 card, and I cut it down to fit in there. And I used, Tattered Angels. That's what I used. I'm not awake yet. So I used Tattered Angels and sprayed it, and then just distressed the back and put some a fabric tag on it. And I used washi tape on the edge here because I find when I just use paper for pockets, the edges are so flimsy that I don't really like it. And I also stamped the top because, you know, this is a dream catcher and it says dream there. So I'm all about my dreams. And that beam of sunlight is just going to keep beaming in. So here's another altered tag that I put lines on the back of. See that? And this is a little paper bag here that I tea stained and then stamped over some paper that I put on it. So when I glued it down, I glued the top, the side, and the bottom. So I have another little tag in there with more lines on it. I didn't put lines on all the tags. I don't think that's necessary. Some more stamping. And another sheet of that paper. And another paper to fold out. And then this is just a card that is attached with another paper clip. So, get that back on there, maybe. My fingers obviously aren't awake yet. Neither is my mouth. And this was a lined sheet out of that same paper pad, so I put that in there. And then this is another bunch of tags. So I cut this out from one of the paper packs, and I just glued it around the bottom here and made a tag for it. And then from the paper pack. And this also is from the paper pack, and I put lines on that one. And this is a sticker that I got out of one of these packs. Here. So, and I need to learn to use those more. I forget they're there, and I don't use them. And they're kind of cool. I just forget they're there. And more paper. And here's another pocket that I made out of a book page. I watched a whole ton of videos on using book pages, and so these tags, these little white tags, I just bought these at Hobby Lobby. There's like, I think 30 of them in a pack for $5. So you can't beat that with a stick, and they come cut out with this already on it, and they're really pretty. So I just glued a piece from the paper pack on there, the cardstock. And I made this out of an ephemera package, again from Tuesday morning. And then I made these little tags out of pre-cut tag. Actually, I might have cut these. I might have punched these tags out. And I just stuck a little punched out heart and stamped it in some tissue paper. And there's another one. And then this was from the ephemera pack too. So I thought it was all very cute and appropriate for what I was doing. And lots of little tags to write on. And just some more papers. She writes a lot, she reads a lot, so I wanted to give her space to write. And so that's why there's not a lot on these pages. And then this was the first time I made this corner tuck. I hope you can see it. So what I did was, it's a 4-pocket corner tuck, and the edge was flimsy. I wish I had done it up here too. Maybe I'll still add some. I put some washi tape here to sort of reinforce the pockets. And then I cut these cards, and if you look at them, they're staggered all out of the cardstock, and I put a little piece of washi at the top for a tab. And they're just plain on the back. So the largest one goes in the back pocket, and then you just put them in the consecutive pockets from there, and they stagger in size. So I thought that was pretty nice. And the washi adds a little something to it at the top. And then I made this library card pocket because I couldn't find one online to use to cut out. So I just used brown cardstock and made it myself. And then this was printed off Graphics Fairy, I'm pretty sure. It's just a library card. And there's the back cover of that page that I printed off that I really like. Now I made this in the Traveler's Notebook style, Midori style, with the elastics on it, and there's 2 extra elastics in here. So she could add another signature, she could add a calendar if she wanted to, a little book calendar, or she can leave it blank. So this is a piece of cardstock that I found in one of my card paper pads. And so I have a funny story to tell you. I tea-dyed a bunch of the little plastic bags. There's a name for this, and I can't think of it now. And these things, glassine bags, the little glassine bags. So it's supposed to open up like this. Well, I dunked it in my tea dye bucket, and I laid them all out, and when they were dry, I went to get them, and none of them opened up. This one is not tea dyed. This one is tea dyed. They're all glued together, and I did not want to take the time or the energy to wet them all and try and unglue them. So I'm using them for pockets and tucks. So I just made this pretty little tag out of some of the paper left over on my desk, and this is one of my fabric stamps that I used. Well, it's not a fabric stamp. I stamped on muslin, and it's then cut it out and glued it on with Fabri-Tac. So, and I distressed the ribbon a little bit so it sort of fit in. So instead of using the bag part, I just used the part behind it. I glued it here, here, and here, and I stamped it and put a little paper on it. I don't like things that are too busy. It kind of makes me a little crazy. So I like that. It's simple. And this is just washi tape down, which looks like it's coming off, so I'll have to re-glue that. I stamped some dragonflies. This is a large doily that I tea dyed, and I folded it in half, and it can be used as a tuck. And this is an altered paper clip that is holding this into a tuck on the edge of this tracing paper. Don't you love the crinkle? Oops, goes this way. I'm hoping there's not too much pink in here for her. And that's tea-dyed composition paper. This is a crazy tag that I made. And I stamped on pink fabric and glued that on. So you can see, it came out nice. And this is just out of a 6x6 paper pad, and it came stained like that. And then music paper, because she's into music. She plays the fiddle and guitar, I think. And this was a pre-made tag that I got out of the pack. And this is a cool little paper clip. Now this is from Lindsay Zenor. I don't know how to say your name, Lindsay. I hope I'm not butchering it, but people butcher my name all the time. And she used charms to put on here, and she used chain. And this one I used a bit of string and a charm because my friend also does meditation and yoga and stuff. And so I made this little envelope and put an eyelet in it. And then I have a tag inside with a tab that I made. This is another Tattered Angels mist spray card, and just has lines on the back to write. And I just took the book page and I stuck some of my favorite tissue music paper to it from Christmas, and just glued that on and stained it, and I punched out a small heart. And I thought that was kind of cute. So I glued it down on the 3 sides again. And I just used a paper clip to help hold it down. Even though this doesn't weigh very much. So it doesn't really hold and this is doubled. I doubled my paper from my thesaurus because it's not very thick. This is just a piece of cardstock I cut down from the paper pad. And more of that pre-printed paper from a paper pad. And a couple more pages, some more tea-dye pages. I think I'm going to add a couple of beads on here as dangles. And then I also made this. This is my first time making one of these pockets. And I took a card and I put this is from the 6x6 paper pad I have. And I made a tab out of a cardstock. Actually, out of a file card. And then I made this, and this is from the paper pack, and I just washi that on. And she can write on both sides, actually. I stamped the front. This was a white card, so I really had to distress it up to make it look not white, because it was bright white. And then this back here is also another corner tuck that I made out of book pages, and it's got 4 slots. So this is out of the paper pack that I had. And so was this. And these as well. So these just each go in one of their own tuck spots. And the back side of the paper, this is just a flip. And more composition paper and tissue paper and plain paper, and the back of the music sheet that we bought, another ledger sheet, another paper out of that pad, the other side of that big doily. This is the first time I've used a big doily. And the back of that signature. And I used eyelets. I sewed the handles in. I used eyelets. I used decorative thread around the outside. This is a variegated thread that I have from when I was quilting. One of my gray hairs is stuck to the back of this thing. Yeah. So there it is. I hope she likes it. You know, if not, well, that's okay too. Not everything I do is everybody's thing, right? I mean, my journals aren't all junk. I don't use a lot of junk in my journals, so I don't know if it can even appropriately be called a junk journal. That's why I call it a journey journal, because life is all about the journey. And this is a new path on my journey. So I hope you like it, and I will see you soon. I'll be back. Thanks for watching.